What does that do? Oh, nice. That's kind of cool. Pretty neat. There we go. All right. Let's practice, folks. 44-foot PBA version 1. We drilled a new Evoke, a new Sublime Focus, and a new Primal, the red Primal. What is it? I don't remember what it's called. The red one. So we've got some transition out here. This has been bowled on for a couple of days now. I bowled on it 2 days in a row, and I'm just trying to now kind of look at how bowling balls reacted on the fresh versus how now they're reacting as they've gotten beat up. Throwing lots of urethane on both lanes. The right lane is a lot more beat up than the left lane. The right lane had a lot more urethane on it as well. So the fronts are toast. This left lane is a little bit tighter. Fronts are gone in the front and the left lane, but they're tighter down lane for some reason. It's just strange. So we're just throwing shots. That is a 2.5 inch Sublime Focus. That is, what does that end up being? That ends up being, I think I did that one 45 by 2.5 by 60. So very smooth, predictable, but not on the transition. There's not a huge difference from the other one. So I'll throw the pin up one, the 5-inch pin one now. A little bit cleaner down lane, maybe a little bit quicker, sharper motion. You can see a difference between them, but as far as standing in the same spot, I'm allowed to stay in the same zone, but they give me two distinct different shapes, which is nice. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So essentially what I'm gonna have is I'm gonna have 6 balls, 2 of each, one drilled with a 2.5 inch pin, one drilled with a 5-inch pin. So I have both options. So now I'm just gonna be throwing these balls, trying to make sure I fully understand the difference between the two, and really get it to hone it in on what I can do and what I need to be doing in certain situations. So yes, the 2.5 inch pin still flares a lot. I'll show you. I'll throw a shot first because it's already soaked into the cover. See, it's just a lot smoother. So 2.5 inches, and it still flares a big amount. You can see how widespread those are. And it goes all the way around the ball through here. You can see them up through here, all the way up, and it gets down right in front of the pins. I don't know what it's hitting. Maybe, I can't imagine it's getting to the thumb, but it definitely straightens out. It gets going real early, real strong. This is gonna be more of a fresh condition type of ball or early transition. It's not gonna be very good on something like this. And we've got the same type of thing with my Evoke. I drilled a new one with a 2.5-inch pin. This one is asymmetrical, so I did 60 degrees on the first angle. Get it closer to the thumb. You can see a lot like the Focus was, but I think this is just a pinch cleaner cover, a little bit more down lane. Not as big a flaring ball as the Focus, but you can see it still flares quite a bit. Moved a few left there and just kind of threw it to the right to see if it would pick up, and it definitely picked up. So now I'll throw the pin up, 5-inch pin one, and see the difference between them. So it's definitely a cleaner cover. You can see much taller pin further over. Cleaner cover. Took it to a fresh 2000. It's got some games on it, so it's definitely going to be different than the other one. A little bit quicker motion, you see it gets going forward a little bit more. So these aren't balls that I would typically be using in a situation like that. So let's throw the new Primal, the red one. This one again, the 2-inch pin. So that's more like what we're looking for on this later transition, the shinier, cleaner cover with the more stable layout. But you can see how much that continues. It doesn't get going forward. So my guess is now I'll throw the pin up one, the 5-inch pin of that same ball. And my guess is it'll be stronger overall, like it'll flip more, but it'll get going forward. So here is the big pin, tall one. Okay, that was just flat out good. Let's throw those ones a couple more times. I was fully expecting that to stop. But then again, these are symmetrical, so I guess that makes a little bit more sense. So previously I compared that to the Road Warrior, which is another symmetrical pearl. Not as tall a pin, so less responsive overall technically, but it is still a 5.5 or 5-inch pin. Definitely wouldn't call that a great shot, but I really think that the red ball actually picks up and at least gets to the pocket with that shot. This one's just a little bit less responsive. You can see it gets more forward. Let me try that one again. And I'm updating in between shots because this is something I'm gonna go back and watch again. And this gives me an idea of something to study to really pay attention to the ball motion. So I can go back, watch it, and see what I saw, and kind of start taking notes in my head and figuring stuff out. To me, that seems very similar to the red ball. Maybe not as rounded. I don't know. I'll have to throw it a few more times to really get a good look. See, and that was one where I felt like it was going to be left off my hand, and my hand got more forward, so it wasn't as responsive down lane, which is kind of like my foul line adjustment, and it worked out okay. So that's the lack of change of direction. I think that's why in this area, the 5-inch pin will look a little bit better this deep. That just feels like in order to make that strike, I'll have to slow down too much. And then it would probably bring in a little bit of over-under ball reaction, I would think. Whereas that one stands up just a little bit more. That was the 5-inch pin. So let me know, can you see the difference between those two? The shot before with the 2.5-inch pin versus that one, which is the 5-inch pin. Can you see the difference off the back of the pattern? Now, through the front part of the lane all the way to the back, they're pretty much reacting the same. So if I were to lay these over each other, motion-wise for the first 45 feet, probably not, you're not gonna see a difference between the two, but it's how they respond going through the pins that makes all the difference. That's the big area where layouts do matter when you're bowling on something like this. And sometimes in League 2, but most of the time it's on things like this where those little changes make such a difference, the difference between shooting 210 and 230. Yeah, I like that. That's one that I got steep with. Got that one to the right a little bit quicker. And the 5-inch pin stood up and allowed it to keep going. The symmetrical core kept it going through the pins, which is great. So this is an area where those 5-inch pins are very key for me. But when I was drilling these 2.5-inch pin type balls, I was more looking for the middle game balls. You know, the balls that I go to after urethane when they get snot tight down lane, and I have to find something that's a little bit quicker than urethane, but more controllable through all the sludge that gets down there at the end. So these 2.5-inch pins can really pay dividends when I get into the middle part of the lane. I'll throw a few shots in the middle of the lane going towards the right side where we're controlling the friction and see if I can get it through there. I don't know how much traction there's been there, but we'll take a look at it anyway. So we'll start with the 2.5-inch pin primal to see how it does through there. I'll move my feet a good 10 right. It's more so that area. I want to see what happens if I rotate that just a little bit more. Will it overreact? Will it see the friction too much there? The idea behind it again is to give me a little bit more versatility to where with the layout it won't overreact off of friction that it sees in certain spots. So it'll allow me to stay in zones longer and not feel like I have to jump left. Whereas with a lot of the longer pins, the more responsive bowling balls, as soon as it sees friction, it wants to either bang through the face or it sees it and loses its rotation, then it's too flat down lane, forces me to feel like I have to move left to get into a cleaner part of the lane, and then I'm giving up that part of the lane that has better carry characteristics, the better entry angle in a lot of cases. So I get forced left too fast and I have to make too many changes to make it work, and that's when I see a lot of over-under. So now I got to move left and add rotation, and it just turns into a nightmare. So it doesn't matter how good of a game you bowl, because your ball reaction doesn't match up for what you're trying to accomplish. So you can't shoot it right from there, that's for sure. That's where all the hang is. That's right of where all urethane went. It's just a flat out bad shot. I actually don't mind that, because again, I'm in all the friction. I'm in that. I wish you can't see it from here, but I can see the track that's going through the lane in that part where I threw a ton of urethane. So I don't mind that actually did okay. It held its line because that was tight inside, and it still tried to stay there. So if I make a small move, what's it gonna do? So that's just the small move moving back into friction. But what I'm really paying attention to is just the overall ball motion. I'm not seeing overreaction in certain parts. It's not looking like it's hooking fast and then scooting and then trying to hook again. It's creating one simple motion. Now you just have to adjust to how much friction there is and what your hand needs to do to adjust to the friction. Now, on this case, you can obviously see there was a clear, better part of the lane to play, which was my further left angle with the higher pins, but we're testing. So let's throw the 5-inch pin primal and see what it gives us back in that original spot 10 right. See the difference there? Well, sure, it was clean, but you could definitely see a difference on how it responded to the friction. Definitely a little bit sharper. So a shape like that is going to force me to go quite a bit left. There's not a whole lot. I could roll it more forward to try to keep it in line. I could use more speed. There's things I can do there, but that's clearly not the optimal area to be playing or the type of thing to be playing. So I'll make the move left, and let's see how much over under I get with it. Now that looked pretty good. My fear is if I get that in a pinch, is that going through the face or does it find a way to hold? See, and that's kind of where I'm at with that. Just a pinch off. Like, you don't want to have to be too perfect in this game. That's the problem. If you have to be perfect, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So choosing ball shapes like that generally gets you in a lot of trouble going from pair to pair to pair. So we're trying to find those more stable ball motions, but ball motions that still get you through the pins. Finding stable ball motion is easy. Sure, we can find the pocket. That's not a big deal. It's finding the pocket and still getting them to fall. That's the hard part. I've always been good at getting the ball to the pocket. I can hit the ball. I can hit the pocket on any pattern in the world 9 times out of 10. That doesn't mean you're going to bowl a good game. Sure, physically you bowled a good game, but you didn't make the right choices as far as the bowling ball goes. And sometimes you have patterns where they're just so hard that 2-0 or 2-10 is a good game. So doing that is fine. But when you're bowling on tour events and bowling against those guys are figuring out how to bowl 220, 230 every game. Like, if you look at the scores right now, they're bowling on Cheetah. Sure, it's a glorified house pattern for those guys, but that's the point. You got to find a way to average 230 plus in order to even have a sniff at the cut. So finding stable ball motion on that isn't necessarily your first priority. You need to find ball motion that's going to strike. That's your priority there. Primal from before went high. I think I was just cutting out because somebody was calling me. They can piss off. But anyway, so you might not have seen that. I'll throw it again. Clear difference in motion between that one and the 5-inch pin one. In that exact same spot. The 5-inch pin just responds to friction earlier and faster, and that one rounds out and goes through the pins properly. So these are the decisions we have to make, and you've got to make them on the fly. So having practice sessions like this, testing these balls against each other on patterns like this is key. So like tomorrow, I'll be going to Turbo for their training at their training center and using their facility on different patterns to test these balls there as well. So lots of bowling, lots of practice and stuff. So we're gonna keep taking a look at all of these things. This is the 5-inch Evoke. That's the issue there. Even though it's a stronger cover, earlier cover, it's still too responsive. Now I'm curious, will the 2.5-inch Evoke slow down enough to get there? And will it flat top? It's just a matter of slight changes. I don't like that because it's not quite right. It's a little too early, a little too smooth, but that's definitely a controllable shape. If the scores are low, I may use something like that. If the scores are higher, I'm gonna be using the primal instead. I'm sorry if I'm not seeing comments right now. I don't have them popped up. So if you're commenting and stuff, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just really focused on getting the information out and talking about these things. That's just an overall bad shot. We're gonna take a piece of tape out. 45 games in 3 days. It's been a lot. So that's the shape we want. It's just a little bit too much friction, which is why the primal looks so much better from that. So if I take something like, I've got that Crusher Hybrid out here, the purple one, it's also got a 2.5-inch pin on it. Let's see what it looks like there. Now the difference here is this is that shinier cover, but it is a asymmetric core. Decent friction response. I don't mind the shape. Let's see, this one's gonna force me to go a little further left because it's bigger core, a little bit bigger engine, a little bit bigger cover as far as response time goes. So let's see what happens if I go a little left. See, so for me, this is just one of those situations where the core is just a little bit too much. It's just trying to do a little too much, a little too strong, which is why, again, the symmetrical core, the primal looks better. Let me throw the primal. I'm gonna throw the 2.5-inch pin again and show you. What I meant by I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how to miss way left and throw it dead through the face. That's what I was going to show you. bit better there. Got that one going to the right, and you can see how it rolls off of it. Doesn't over respond, so definitely really nice. So now if I take like a lower differential ball, something like the Effect Tour, I've got a 5-inch pin of that, and I've got a 2.5-inch pin of that. Let's take a look at that and see how they roll too. Now these are really strong covers. And I've got some games on them now, so I've probably got 15 or so games on each ball. So they've cleaned up a little bit, but the cover on these Effect Tours were so strong. You know, they were essentially responding like a big ASIM ball. Now they've tamed down a little bit, which is nice. That's exactly what we're looking for. See, so that's exactly what I mean. That's that same spot as that primal, the 2.5-inch primal. That was the 2.5-inch Effect Tour, and you can see it just pick up a little sooner and a little bit overall stronger, which will be perfect. That's going to be a great step up from that primal. So my question now is, how's my 5-inch Effect Tour going to respond in that spot? A little bit cleaner, a little sharper response, but we see with the lower differential, the less flare, you know, the lower flare potential bowling ball, it kind of tames it down just a little bit. See, now that's the problem with the 5-inch pin. That was 2-in-1 left off of a high flush strike, like super high, and then now it sees transition weird. So I'm gonna try and see what the 2.5-inch pin one does in that same spot. Hopefully it blends it better. I even got that left, which is probably why I held, and now we're starting to see a little cliff there. But I got that left and it held, so that's good. So I want to see, let's throw one good and get it going right. But that's still a good sign. That's what we're after. Throwing bad and get 9, okay, you can't be mad at that. It's when you're throwing them good and getting 9, that's where we have an issue. Okay, so you can see it definitely blends it better and controls it better, but that's another one of those situations to where if the scores are high, you can't go with that. You just can't do it. Too low a differential, not strong enough engine to get through the pins. The shape looks okay, but it's not going to strike enough. So you've got to use the primal, in my opinion. So now let's go to the primal again and see if it strikes in that same area. I'm going to shoot a spare because I haven't shot a spare yet today. Woo! Nice bear. I still know how to bowl. That's good. So the interesting thing is, you know, with the U.S. Open coming up this Sunday, I got to bowl the PTQ, and there's only 5 spots available, just like this past week. So it's going to be a grind, fully going in without expectations. This is the, you know, I've been putting a lot of work in over the last couple of weeks now, but I don't know that I fully feel prepared yet. I'm going to go bowl an event Saturday beforehand, maybe, possibly, maybe not. I don't know. Definitely heading to Indianapolis early, sometime on Saturday, so I can be there for the practice squad in the morning. But I'm feeling pretty good about the season. You know, we've got Cody Shoemaker and myself. We were given an exemption into the Illinois tournament, so we don't have to bowl the PTQ there. So we both get to bowl doubles together, and we get into the main event as well. So kind of cool. Thank you, Tom Clark, for that. Since we did make match play at doubles last year, they gave us the exemption there to kind of try to do it again. So that'll be pretty cool. We'll get to bowl that, not have to bowl a PTQ there. Don't have to bowl PTQ at the World Series or the Nevada Open. Don't have to bowl the PTQ at the Players Championship or the Masters. You know, the only other ones that I have to bowl the PTQ in are, it's just the TOC. So, because I'm not going to bowl the small events. I'm not going to bowl the, you know, the Missouri Open. I'm not going to go to that. And some of the other small events. I don't remember what they are, but I'm just going to bowl all the major events and see what happens. But feeling pretty good going into all that. You know, definitely trying to take advantage of the exemption Tom gave us for that week and see what we can do. But Cody bowled pretty good this week, bowling on the cheetah on the bat pattern for the PTQ. He was leading after 4. Ball reaction kind of went to poo, and he fell out of the cut after 7. But still pretty good week. He got his money back. He cashed, so not a big deal. So I want to throw the 5-inch primal, and I want to move a bunch left and see what the 5-inch ball gives me. And then I want to see if the 2.5-inch pin 1 will keep up from further left as well. I mean, this might be, now that I'm outside of the range of the way the pattern should be played based on the transition that's there, this might be an area where an ASIM ball would look better, but not sure. We'll find out. That actually looked pretty good. Let's see what the 2.5-inch pin does there. Does it puke or does it look just as good? Too slow down lane. That's why the 5-inch looks a lot better. So I hope everybody's kind of learning something here, seeing the difference between these layouts and stuff and how they're responding down lane. I know I am. So we're gonna go to the Effect 2 or the 5-inch one from further left like that and see how it does. Stronger cover, so who knows. That looks pretty good. I ain't gonna lie there. That looks pretty dang good. Not open. 3. So that's a lower differential ASIM ball with a solid cover, strong cover. Looks pretty good in there now. Now let's throw the Road Warrior in there and see the difference. Symmetrical pearl. That's that quicker response. A little too quick. That's one that's going to force you to go left. Unfortunately, I think if I go left with that, it's probably flat 10 city. But for giggles, let's try. It's almost like I can see the future. That's the problem, because now you create that steeper angle, a little bit quicker motion, it gets going too forward. And if I get that hooking earlier, it's too responsive. That's why you need the smoother, rounded shape from right there. So even if I go left with the Effect Tour, the longer pin one, it should be still better than that Road Warrior. A little bit more cover, ASIM core to kind of help it through the pins. All those things to pay attention to, guys. These are the little changes, the little things. When you start seeing your ball motion properly, you can see that stuff before it happens. And the only reason I can really see, I could predict what the Road Warrior was going to do is because that was the ball reaction I fought all the time. These were the types of things I dealt with on these tour patterns all the time. Leaving the 4-pin or the 4-9 and then saying, okay, now I just have to make a small move. No big deal. I'm in good shape. And then watching it go 3 feet further down the lane, just a flat 10 like that. That's what happens. And I didn't use the right layout / core combinations and everything with cover stock combinations to do the things that are necessary. So I dealt with the same ball reaction most of the year. And unfortunately, I thought, okay, maybe just 5-inch pins would fix it. But I was still choosing 5-inch pin stuff like the Road Warrior instead of 5-inch pin small ASIM, small differential ASIMs like an Effect Tour, or shorter pin or even longer pin stuff with a stronger cover like the Primal, just different things. I was using weaker covers and all these different things, like just bad decision after bad decision. So now, unfortunately, this Crusher Hybrid has a 2.5-inch pin on it, but from further in there with the ASIM core and the shinier cover, it might be a good combination to still be able to get through the pins from where the Effect Tour is. So a little bit stronger core. Let's see. Now I would rather see that than a flat 10, because that makes me feel like I can slow down a little bit and that'll be a good ball reaction. And we'll slow down and throw it a little bit further right, but mission accomplished either way. It still look better. Let's throw a couple with it and see how it looks. Still just a little bit too far down the lane. That one with a stronger layout probably would be better. I'm gonna go grab a couple other balls in there and see if we can compare some bigger ASIMs in that area just to see how they look. Be patient, I'll be right back. All right, so I grabbed an Origin, a big ASIM, and then the new Raptor, the big Pearl. So let's throw those in there and see how those can fit into these bowling balls I already have. So remember we said that Crusher Hybrid was just a little bit too slow, a little bit too far down the lane. We grabbed something a little quicker with this Motive Raptor, the Gold Raptor, the Rush, and all of a sudden it picks up and goes to the pins. Let's throw it again and see what it does. That was a bad shot. I stepped in something. That was weird. See, even though it's a little bit quicker shape, looks a little better, it's still too far down the lane. So I'll grab the ASIM core with the Origin, and let's hope it's not too strong. First shot, fresher cover, a little quick. Should tame off after this first shot. Let's see what it does now. Okay, much stronger ball. To be fair, this wouldn't be the correct part of the lane, but for demonstration purposes, for learning purposes, we're trying to see the difference here. So I'll go left with it and see what it does. You can just see how much more that bigger core, big ASIM core, stronger pearl cover. I think it's pearl. Might be a hybrid. I think it's a hybrid. But it just really gets going. Really picks up much sooner than some of the other pearls you saw. They were too far down the lane. This one's earlier. So let's see if it can stay there for a while. That one even had a lack of rotation and it went forward, but it still was at the right angle to strike. So that's a good sign. All right, needless to say, that ball's going with me. That's going to be one of the outliers that goes with me. I don't think that ball will look good with a 2.5-inch pin. No need to do something like that on that ball. That ball looks really good with the 5-inch pin for when I need to really go left in the soup, bang on it, need something to get going. That's it. I say bang on it as if my 415 RPMs is a lot. I say that ball looks pretty good, folks. What do you think? That was left and left and still got there. Now here's a prime example. We'll go to a bigger, stronger cover. Something like, we'll just throw that focus just for fun and see what it does in there with the origin. And you can see the difference. It's going to read sooner and it's going to give me that weird blah type of look. So you guys remember when I threw that Road Warrior? and it did that, and then I moved left and it flat 10. This is the same type of ball motion. Stronger cover, but now watch, I'll move left and then more than likely it's gonna flat 10. That one hit just right to get the flat 10 out. Let's see if it does it this time.
There it is.
I got the last one a little bit further down the lane, so it got into the switch zone. I had the ability to strike, so that's what we were looking for. That's what you're expecting. So I definitely can tell I'm getting sharper because I'm seeing those things quicker.
Young man? You good to say hi?
All right, I'm gonna turn the comments on so I can see them. Tell me, which ball should I throw? And where should I throw it? For good practice here. And try to strike. See how many shots it takes me to strike in that area. Give me an idea. Come on, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Can nobody hear me? I hope people can hear me. If not, this was a wasted video. I'm not going to be able to go back and look at it. This is 44 feet, PBA version 1 pattern. Okay, you can hear me good. Nobody wants to give me a ball to throw in an area? Primal from that similar area? I don't know if it'll get through the pins, but I can try it. I think I would have to slow down and really rotate it. So, good. I'm glad you guys can hear me. I wasn't sure. I never checked on it. This is the first time I'm looking at comments, so I'm not scrolling up to look at them yet. But, all right, we'll try to throw the Primal. I'm going to throw the 5-inch one just to see if I can get it through the pins from there. Get your comments in. Pick a ball. We've got the Raptor. We've got the Tour, the Effect Tour. And remember, all of these balls except the Raptor and the Origin have 5-inch pin and then also a 2.5-inch pin. So make sure to tell me which one you want me to throw, whether it's the 2.5-inch pin or the 5-inch pin. But we've got the Primal with both layouts, the Effect Tour with both layouts, Sublime with both layouts, Evoke with both layouts. And then there's also, we got the Road Warrior, the Crusher Hybrid, and then the Raptor Rush up here with the Origin up here. Any of the other ones, so the Raptor, the Origin, and the Road Warrior are 5-inch pins. The Crush is a 2.5-inch pin. So we'll start with the Primal in that big deep zone, the 5-inch pin, and see what it's got.
All right, too steep, too slow.
It's good shape though. I changed tape, it's starting to hang out.
A lot of bowling last couple of days.
positive outlet. All right.
We're looking pretty good. I'm able to call when a ball's going to flat 10. Seeing the motion the right way. Now I'm just having people tell me what ball to throw and where to stand, so that way I can try and make a strike with the nerves.
It'd be really cool if you had batteries for that. It'd be really cool if you had batteries for that.
It's not the right ball.
But that's the ball I would normally do. Normally I would say, oh, let's use that. That's all I have.
Okay, so now, well,
But 2.5 inches. They don't look good.
yeah, no, I get
It needs to be 18 inches for all the marks. But, yeah. I mean,
Now,
so,
now, can you say, all right, can you say the farther right, the smaller the pitch?
yeah, basically.
Okay.
Unless we've got enough volume, there's enough volume, you can still use the big pins, or the short pins, I mean. We're starting to swell 3 days and 50 games in 3 days is quite good. Finally starting to see some changes.
Normal hand change.
Yeah. There you are.
Couple of hand.
But it just gets going so much better. Oh.
So is that because of the leg?
No, that's the big issue. Stronger cutter, higher cutter, stronger core, bigger engine.
Okay.
5 and 7 inch bender up to the cutter. So this is one area I had. This was the area where I could start locking it up. Started cleaning the it's in the right zone. That's further left than what I was with it before. But like even when you go, even when I go with both of these and 5 inch pin tour, it looks pretty good.
So then tell me the order of things, what if you were doing progression?
Well, I have to rerun this. Because right now all I'm doing is, yeah.
What?
The big machine, the front.
You want this better? You want different?
Well, she got something tougher. Tougher the better. Tougher the better. See something flat. Really good to see what they evoke and the Sublime does. Unfortunately, I think that Sublime hits the thumb still.
Supply, what,
The 2.5 inch pen.
what grenade did you use?
I use the 60. It's slow, same as the others.
That still catches up to the thumb?
I think it's just because the cover is so strong. Here, tell me while you get down there whether this hits. You'll be able to hear it when you're down there. Maybe it's just because I was jamming on it, trying to hit it more. So that ball's on play. Yeah, I thought so. That's the Sublime. I thought I heard it hit the thumb earlier in the day, and it does. It's still, I'm not able to do that layout with those with that type. I'd have to go an even lower pin, so bigger third angle valve to be able to make this usable. So I hate that. I just wasted this ball. It's not the first one I did that with. I thought I could get away with going a little bit higher with it, but I guess I was wrong. And again, I mean, I might not need that because I have the Evoque with that same layout and it doesn't hit the thumb. Which, okay, so that's what's confusing to me, is because the Sublime is technically symmetrical. And I don't know, I don't know. I'm not sure why that one catches the thumb at the end and the Evoque doesn't.
Same layout. Well, kind of. Technically, my first angle
is different on both balls because I made the Evoque 60 degrees on the first angle and the Sublime is like 35 on the first angle, but the Sublime's symmetrical, so that shouldn't matter.
But this one does. That one doesn't catch the thumb.
So I'll have to look at the numbers of that Sublime and try to figure out. Yeah, I think the ASIM core is actually pulling it down, brings the bow tie lower. I have the ability to move the bow tie a little bit easier on the asymmetric core versus the Sublime. The Sublime, I would just simply have to go much lower with the pin, but you can see already the Sublime how blah it is. I don't think I needed to do a 2.5-inch pin Sublime like this. I'll have to pick something else. I might be able to just do a pin down layout, a regular pin down layout with it instead. So I don't know. But unfortunately, with the way the tour rules are, I can't just plug the Sublime and relay it out. I'm not allowed to use it then. So I'd have to just drill a new one. So I guess Friday I'll have to figure out what I want to do. Run into that as a no thumber. Lots of longer pin layouts don't work for me on symmetricals because I will clip my fingers and drop the diff way too low so they don't flare. Yeah. I don't know, I might be able to, I'll try while he's oiling here. He's gonna run a new pattern, a fresh pattern for me. So I'll try to go drill the fingers extra deep and see what happens. I'll leave you guys here live so you can kind of watch the machine or whatever, but I'm gonna go take the Sublime in there and drill my ring finger really deep and see if that helps.
Go drill that ring finger super deep and see if that helps it. And it's got to bring the differential down some.
Okay, so let's see what the numbers on that.
That's the one where I kicked the CG out because I'm like, it's symmetrical, it shouldn't matter, right? So I kicked it out to like 35, so it's right towards the VAL. But then I did 60 degrees on the back end, just like all the rest.
So it's still down, but
It's still down, but it's still, yeah.
But maybe because it's symmetrical, it just keeps flaring, it keeps going, whereas the ASIM kind of stops its flare at some point, because the bow tie moves farther enough down.
Actually, what I do with it is, let's sand it up, let's polish it, and see if it's so fresh. Maybe it's just, that's the thing, that down flares more, with that cover shot, freezing away, and it's just sweat, that's the most sweat, you know?
Because, I mean, honestly, I don't see too much of a difference between that one and the 5-inch. So, I don't know, I'm going to drill the fingers deep first, and then we'll shine it if we have to.
Well, the shine was to change it, it was just to see. If you shine it, you quickly hit it with polish, and you real polish on it. Real polish on it, if it doesn't hit the thumb hole, then it doesn't flare as far.
The polish ain't going to make it flare less.
Total revolution of the woman. Time to change the way it flares, but total distance traveled,
Make it skids further.
good farther, so it doesn't pull as many times to the left.
I got you. So you think the friction factor is making it flare more,
Or flare.
or flare faster,
Flare faster.
get into a roll.
So you
quicker.
get, so it actually just gets there, so it just pops it up on the other side.
Maybe.
I mean, that would be the easiest, because you can just rub it on and just see it.
Yeah.
2 shots and you can't hit the thumb hole with it, or put full hand in it, then you know that's the truth.
All right, that finger's 4 inches deep now, so let's see what happens. Are you gonna flip it on quick? I got you. All right, so we just drilled the ring finger 4.5 or 4 inches deep. Let's check it. You didn't hear it? I thought it did.
One more and get shit out.
Still flares a lot.
Oh yeah.
All right, got it further, but it still hit the thumb on the way, like right at the pins. Ah, well, poop. All right. Not much else I can do with it. That was, I mean, change surface, see if we can get it down there quicker. Less friction factor, maybe. I'll go spin it at something higher. Rotate the surface, see what it does too.
Oh, you can't tell now. We got different curves, we got different curves.
But it doesn't matter though.
Well, it does.
Well, we'll try it here first on the fresh
No, we
batch.
just can't, and the thing is, when you bore, you'll never know.
Well, and it's never going to get to a point where I would be using it in that situation
Right.
anyway. more than likely it's going to be an area where I'm going to be using less rotation, less hand.
And if you notice that you're in the final, it tells them not to. What the fuck?
What is that? Dum, 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 dum.
Landing toward it. Well, that means you're really doing it well. He's got to figure it out so he can just get that ball.
Yeah, right.
Randy will make it. Come up with something and make it work.
What are you putting up? What is this now? Oh, you ain't gonna tell me?
Well, I'll tell you the foot mark. It looks like 38.
Oh, 38?
38, 39.
Okay. Woo, there's salt everywhere. All the ice.
Oh, yeah, the ice coming in. Stupid people not bring your stuff up here. But I like to, they bring your bag, they get your bag out, get the bowling ball out, move your shoes, put the shoes on the table. Put that up there with that boot. Get a ball up there. Then sit down and change your shoes.
Yeah. Almost like they haven't lived in Michigan.
Oh, yeah, well, it's like you live on the drive. You can't do it. They got a foot of snow in New Orleans.
Yeah.
A foot!
Well, they got snow in Florida.
Yeah, but they get snow in Florida, but in New Orleans,
Not very
in
often.
Houston, Texas, got 8 inches. Houston!
Climate change.
That's right. That's exactly it. It's getting
Global
so-
warming's
global
making it
warming.
colder.
Yep. 8 inches of snow, and the guy goes, the mayor and the city says, we have no snow equipment.
Well, makes sense.
And it's going to be cold for, 3-4 days. So,
We're shutting the city down.
good.
Yeah.
Roads are closed, emergency services only.
I mean, it kind of makes sense because their roads and stuff, the way they do them, they're not built for snow.
Right, and they'll
They're
put
built
them,
for rain.
right, they'll put them up on an angle like this and
Yeah.
everything, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Like Florida? Florida's really bad.
Yeah.
Because they get so much rain. Like their roads are literally like this.
Yeah, the rains like that, and the and a lot of shells, so they're very porous.
Yeah.
So the ice just sticks to it,
Yeah.
and it just
Come on, baby. Give me some of that there juice. Put some of that there wax on the lanes.
Yeah, I like it when people say, "Did you wax us?" Yeah.
We waxed them really good, folks. Waxing them really good, even running them twice. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Almost canceled it. Almost canceled you guys.
You always gotta wax.
Oh, sweaty. There's been a lot of bowling these last few days, but I'm feeling good. My neck don't hurt. I bought one of those heating pads that wrap around your neck. I've been using that the last few days. It seems real. And I ice afterwards. Woke up this morning, I'm like, I can turn my neck more. I'll go to the chiropractor again tomorrow. Just go for a second time. Good to go. Yeah. There's a tournament up in Holland. I thought about going this year just to get some games in, but then I'd have to drive straight from there to Indiana and bowl in the morning. So I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet.
Is the PTQ on Sunday or Monday?
Sunday. We got a 7:30 practice. You get a half an hour practice on the pattern, and then we bowl at 9:30. So you have practice session beforehand, which I actually like. I think that's a good idea.
That's a little nice routine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then we're not just going out there blind.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to know the pattern. They don't tell you the pattern. But it's going to be, just like always, between 38 and 41 feet. Generally. And they always make the P2Q pattern the hardest because they want to make sure the best bowlers get through. You don't want the schlubs to get through, You don't want guys like me getting in there.
Oh, they've done a good job of that.
Yeah, they've done a great job keeping me out. Except Vernon, I don't have to bowl the PTQ at Vernon Hills. Thank you, Tom Clark. All right, so we finally reran these after 3 days. I've been bowling on this pair for 3 days straight, creating transition with urethane and everything else. You saw how far left I got there. So it was probably more beat up than what a tour pattern actually will get to during a block, because we only bowl six game blocks generally. So, and I've probably bowled 50 games. on this pair. So it's a little bit more than what a tournament block would be. 6 games, 3 people on a pair. Yeah, definitely more. Three times 6, 18. Yeah. So let's call it 24 games is generally what goes on a pair.
I'd probably double that on this pair. That was what I was
Trying to do though, so I could see
Right.
what these balls are capable of in different situations.
But I don't know that. I don't know that.
Nice.
That would hit it. Because that was my left hand.
But I also think that's a picture.
Yeah, maybe. That's probably true. Doesn't have as much opportunity to turn over.
All right, I might need to switch thumbs.
I don't know where my bigger thumb went.
All right, if this is 38 feet, she's super flat out there. Goodness. That's that 2.5-inch pin Sublime Focus. That actually looks okay. It's real nice, controllable. Throw the Evoke. It's the 2.5-inch pin Evoke. That's definitely a much quicker shape.
Quicker motion. We got some curve. Okay.
Where do you think that's where
There's so much out of bounds.
At least first time throughout 4 or 5.
I would say, I'll tell you yes. Wow, that is nice.
Yeah, that's like quick. That's 2.5 inches. So that's quicker than this. This is slow, more rounded. Afraid to throw it out there. Clearly another situation I'd be using urethane.
Yes, you would.
Much slower.
We'll save your thing for the right one.
Yeah, we'll put urethane over there. Just get these kind of, figure out the difference between these on something fresh. clearly a difference between that and the Evoque. Same layout, technically.
Right, this one was put on, was put on.
Yeah, it's earlier and smoother. So that same zone that the Evoque actually struck. Good.
Like, the one.
Yeah. We're quicker. Flares a little bit fast. Just hit comes off a bit too hard. Now I want to see what the 5-inch pins do there from each other. Getting all swollen up. That keeps it busy.
Well, can you talk with friends too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I,
I just got finding new stuff on here.
that's just,
It's crazy. Oh, there we go.
you don't have to get a bigger house that way.
Yeah. My house is way too small for it. That one hung up. There you go, one more.
That's the thing I still have not on.
Right.
You stick on your hands,
Yeah. It's a feel thing. I put one lower. Because then it makes it tighter in the bottom part of my thumb and really presses out a little bit.
It works, I mean, I haven't figured that out.
So I think that's iffy for some people. Well, that's quick. So that's the 5-inch versus the 2.5 inch. That's exactly what you would expect. Warrior stuff. I need my urethane. Alright. I mean, in all honesty, if I'm trying to get lined up without reactor without your.
Back to the benchmark ball.
Yeah, this would be the way to go.
That's 2 inch, right?
Everything's just so quick.
Find it hard.
Yeah, that's good. I gotta be able to get close to the weather. Kind of how they are, though.
That is a tree thing.
The question is will it look like it gets 2, 3, 4 out there? Maybe being straighter up line like that it will now. exactly why we use urethane on stuff like this.
Uh-huh. That's why you gotta be too long. Keep on going. That's 3.
Oh, that was pretty good. Oh, that was pretty good. Let's try like some line from there. A bit more aggressive. The whole idea behind shapes on these patterns is you've got to take the out of bounds out of play. Right there, I'm basically playing on top of it.
Right, you're trying to get your mistakes to work.
Yeah, you got to get the ball to read before the out of bounds settle and then it hits that.
There's not enough. It's just a reason.
So that ball makes me feel like it's possible I could go further left and get steeper out the gutter because it moves soon enough. Kind of treat it like urethane. I'm gonna try it for science. Try it for science. Nope. You'd think it picked up earlier. It's such a strong cover.
Yeah.
Because urethane would.
You have to know if you hit the dry spot before you're there.
Nah, urethane looks a little throw it every time. Maybe not the new one. That's closer.
Just one second.
Yeah.
I only got the first.
I'm just talking balls.
I know. Now I'm talking about plug every line. Sometimes you throw that ball before it ends up being in. Yeah, I know. You can't throw a different ball every foot.
Percent of urethane though. This is why pre-urethane, before urethane got good, this is why scores were so low on US Open cut pass.
They're still low. Compared to, 257, the guy that shot for 257,
Yeah.
block. You know him?
Yeah.
One hitter though, right?
Yes.
That's, I'm just impressed that.
So I'll read that spot. Won't do it. But that's, again, you gotta play through that lack of friction in the road.
So if you had to play the right time lane, okay, well, all this will, so you're gonna take 2 inch
Yeah, it's the only option, everything is quick otherwise. See, that's kind of the issue you run into though, when you start playing into that area, these balls don't read quick enough, they don't read soon enough. That's why your thing is so prevalent. But then when you, even if you get a urethane ball to read too quick, it still slows down enough where maybe you force it. That, the urethane ball, that slows down. The reactor just keeps going.
Now we're going to tour back.
Less friction.
Actually, I think that had position that line.
Enough surface. Not enough surface. Too much surface, not enough surface. Too much get up in the middle, not enough get up in the middle. Stop it outside. I don't know where it's at. I want to see if I suck or if I'm right about your thing.
Hey. What's in front of this one?
This is a new one with straight lines.
Okay. Designing the separate one.
That's better motion. It's just it's so hard to get reactive balls to slow down like that.
Still so much pressure.
Try to inch right. Do it with the foot flex again. Stronger like a better.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, your thing.
You get a hook or you get a hook or you're gonna get there and then you get there and you carry it. It's really touching.
Yeah, because the reactive ones squirt.
Yep.
They hook, but then they hook way too late.
Yeah, they're way too late, then they put the head in front of all the rest of it.
I thought that one would go straighter. So I moved back to hook. Yeah, can you slow down and hook it? Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh. much pressure.
No, I'm correct. How about data?
Thumb that one just a little. Pressure got to me there. Getting nervous. Getting nervous. That was one of those, okay, just trust it to the right. And then I trusted it, but I caught a handful at the same time. And that's always been my way too. Grab at it. Touch down. One or the other. You grab it, shut down. Right.
Feel like kind of drop it behind you, like it's that be third.
Yeah. Can't want to real good. That's the other one. It's either that or this. Thumb it forward or.
I think you're in the right ball.
If I can just be more aggressive. I know this is straighter, but. Just absolutely trust on. You see how much cleaner that looks. Now it gets down the lane a little bit.
But that's one.
Read the lane. So that's unacceptable. That's not supposed to happen. That's the whole purpose of throwing airplanes, because those ones are supposed to flat 10 at worst. That one's a little stronger.
Yep,
I'm okay with that.
I'm not.
Why?
Was your, so they're trying that? Is that what they're going?
Well, I only said I was okay with the 280 because it was a really bad shot. And it didn't wash out like the one before.
I was just calling because your gas out a little on the speed, correct?
Yeah, I'm going slower now.
Yeah, but you see those two shots, the wash out now and you back off, that's definitely early enough to where you go high. Yeah.
Now, too steep. The problem is, you go further right, it makes too early.
Correct, that's what I said. Now I'd like to know what the level does.
Oh, yeah.
That's your next option. That's what I'm using all the normal, but it's
Keep it in front,
I like it.
not go around in the front.
Well, that, going on that, good stuff. Well, that's only one. I'm shooting for one place. Need six dagger, probably right on six dagger, probably right on. Let me use that. Qualifying, if you throw 8 in a row, I expect that.
See, I think, yeah.
I want to hear about it, I want it on the speed.
I think I get myself caught into that feeling like, okay, I'm trying to take the out of bounds out of play, so I feel like I have to throw it slower to make it hook sooner.
Right.
So I start making myself go left and rounded, and then steeper to get it to read sooner before
What
the
is
out
the
of
air
bounds.
bowl at? When he traded.
Oh, I didn't want to.
Well, okay, when did the air bowl, when he threw it trading? And that's the best game of trading. There you go.
Is that not fun?
So you get through with that.
Well, yeah, you have to.
Can't throw the
We
safety.
need speed kills. I don't think it was that much. Maybe, but not to the point where it should have did that.
Someone send me stuff.
Yeah. Well, we gotta record it, so we'll do the timer out. A lot of black bowling balls.
Alright, I like that.
Whoa.
Now let's see what that does.
That one's gonna make me go around it like I was trying. Just keep hooking. Don't bail on me and tubing in random spots. I mean, I know I'm not exactly sharp yet. Getting better, but getting close. Yeah, that one's too responsive.
I'll just say that's
Yeah, it is. I'm not, well, that's not supposed to work.
It's not working standard. That's not 9 times okay.
That's all I'm good for is one bagger. I got one baggers in me.
Double all day. Then you gotta be clean.
If I can just keep working on one bagger after one bagger, I'm good. Because that forces me to be too good. Because that's rarely right of the last one. It just goes. That was good.
Look like you missed
You definitely can't catch it because it's so much more responsive. See, unless, if I'm going to play that straight angle, so I mean like up the lane, you ain't never playing up the lane after this. Unless you do. But that angle, unless there's a little bit of friction to the right, it's impossible. Because your ball looks like you can just finish it wrong. I've seen that washouts every 6 months. It's not low enough to do it. It's just, I'm hearing a lot of the tour guys say that they're not a fan of this ball on the volume. That makes some sense. Because everybody chose to throw the red 78 instead of that one. That on cheap. So, he's looking to reserve. Maybe look to
Just watching. Coaching.
You all done?
I am done.
Well, whatever this pattern is we're bowling on seems impossible. Getting over under with urethane is crazy. Better get sharper faster. This is going to be a long Sunday. Funny thing is, I don't feel awful. I feel like I'm actually throwing decent shots. Except that one. So when I try to take it into my own hands and roll it more forward and pick up speed to keep it in line with the pocket, it doesn't create quite the right shape to get through the pins. Whereas when I kind of go around it a little bit and try to catch it, it creates the right shape, but then if I miss, it's never good. Never good at all. Not even close. I know the answer is just don't miss, but that's impossible.
Alright, you figured it out yet?
No, because if that was good and it hooked early. If I throw it to the right, I feel like it won't hook at all. So that makes me feel like, okay, now I gotta catch it. But then I go right back to seeing that early hook again.
I took away your happy with it. I didn't even very happy when we got there.
Well, because I knew what my ball was doing. Now I don't have. And when I do that, to make it go right and try to get it to pick up on it, it just never hooks. Never sees it. So you watch all those guys out there, and they can just do that, and their ball will hook forever from anywhere. And it's like, what the fuck are they doing that's different? Because it's not an accuracy thing. I can make my ball go from point A to point B. That's not the hard part. It's getting the ball to do the right fucking thing. That's why I drove these stupid shorter things. They're not doing the right thing on the front. They're too quick. This is too. How is a urethane ball with run? That's the secret.
Okay, before you beat yourself up,
Shut it down just a little bit, but that's enough.
you're going completely flat right now.
Good. That's what it's supposed to be.
This is the PBA, or this is the US Open flat. 38-foot flat.
I wouldn't be playing them like this ever. That's the thing.
It's flat, so you gotta create your own start point.
So this flat. I'm going flat. Playing over there, you can't.
No, because everybody plays urethane, because urethane dies.
Nah, on this they don't.
We do last year.
We don't go on this.
Got one from the US Open last year.
Well, yeah, one of the times.
Right.
They definitely don't play urethane on this. They try. They don't have success. Just a little bit. I can pull that. When we put it out here, that was the long one. That one you do play. Friction.
Hi, Gary.
Time is it?
305.
about to kick something.
Not a good motion.
Definitely feel like I'm going on an event right now. This is exactly what I fucking have.
Can't run rock. Everyone you like to rock. Well, that's why I know. Angry JR throws one.
I hate when it hangs up on my hand right here.
Drives me absolutely fucking crazy. Absolutely not.
They were throwing the urethane. They were throwing the urethane. That was 15. Yeah, well, softball one was they were hitting it to make it work. And they just played that and scored that in.
So everybody bowled 190.
Then people got so much early hook. They got so much early hook that when they got left of it, then they had out of bounds. Yeah, sure. You had to go through the drive. If you go through the drive, then went, in the drive. Oh my God, it's free!
Not today.
I can't use that phone. That's a tight phone. Don't ask me why I drove the servo. I have no idea. I hate it because it goes boom, 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 right on the phone.
You never miss a chair doing it that way, then you get noticed. You miss one, then you always think, oh, what is it? Was that by design or was that luck?
Pretty good. The other one's all kind of gone. Right.
You pointed it. That worked.
Come on over here. Well, that's frustrating. Gotta go to work.